Today, we will be sharing with you information regarding the Battelle Developmental Inventory, the second edition. In general, there are 5 areas assessed: adaptive behavior, personal and social skills, motor skills, communication skills, and cognitive skills. For our demonstration later on, we focused on adaptive behavior and motor skills. The age range for this assessment is birth to 7 years, 11 months old. The type of assessment is inventory, involving interview, observation, and checklists of important developmental markers. The length of time to administer this assessment takes approximately 60 to 90 minutes, plus an additional 10 to 30 minutes to score. It all depends on the age and developmental level of the child. The purpose of this assessment is to help track developmental milestones in children. It is also helpful to determine a child's eligibility for services under the IDEA. It can be useful in children up to the age of 8, which represents a wider range of ages than what was previously available prior to the BDI's release. You should have at least 2 examiners to administer this assessment. Up to 3 examiners can be useful for this assessment due to the length. It also works best if different disciplines focus on certain domains, such as speech-language pathologists administering and scoring the communication section. For the scoring of this assessment, a 0 typically indicates the child did not attend to the task, or the response was not adequate to receive partial credit. This could also indicate an incorrect response, or that the child has never had the opportunity to exhibit this skill. A 1 indicates that the child may have emerging skills or may have attempted the task without meeting the criteria considered necessary for the skill to be mastered. A 2 indicates the child response meets the specified criteria listed in the test manual at the bottom of the page. This indicates the skill has been mastered or the developmental milestone has been reached. For the psychometrics of this assessment, there is normative information. When creating the BDI, 800 children were sampled with 100, roughly 50 female and 50 male, children from each age group from ages 1 to 8 years old. Gender or race did not produce a difference in the data collected. However, socioeconomic status was not taken into account when establishing norms. For the reliability, the test-retest reliability as well as the inter-rater reliability is high, ranging from 0.90 to 0.99 for both reliability measurements. Of note, test-retest reliability was generally better as the child was of an older age. For validity, with respect to predictive validity, studies have shown that the BDI has high predictive validity in children over the age of 18 months. Content validity is also considered to be high, even prior to the second edition of the BDI being released. For the analysis of this assessment, there are a few weaknesses. The first is that it is costly at approximately $1,200. It is also very lengthy to complete. There is a shorter test available, but the test reliability and validity are both low for the shorter version. There are multiple strengths, however. Some of these strengths include well-established norms, accuracy in determining needs for services, how each test can be administered separately, which allows the child to focus better, and can be administered to a wide range of children. The biases for this assessment include a cultural bias because it doesn't consider socioeconomic status when establishing the norms. It is only offered in English and in Spanish, as well as the checklist portion can lead to inaccurate responses.
In this gross motor assessment, the child holds his or her head erect for 1 minute when held. No materials are needed. The person holding the child is directed to hold the child sideways in an upright position in your lap, with one hand supporting the child's back and head and the other on his or her chest. Slowly move your hand down to the child's shoulder. Observe whether the child holds his or her head erect and for how long. According to the scoring manual, the child would have received 0 points for holding his or her head erect for less than 30 seconds, 1 point for 30 to 59 seconds, and 2 points for at least 1 minute. In this fine motor assessment, which can be used for a child starting at 24 months, the child extends a toy to a person and releases it from his or her grasp. A small toy, such as a toy car, is needed. Give the child the toy. While the child is playing with the toy, extend your hands and say, "Give me the car. Can I have the car?" If the child extends the toy, note whether he or she releases it from his or her grasp. In order to score this assessment, the child would receive 2 points if they extended the toy and released it from his or her grasp, 1 point if they extended the toy but did not release it, and 0 points if they did not extend the toy. In this adaptive behavior assessment, the child chooses the appropriate utensil for the food he or she is using. Materials needed include reference cards showing knife, fork, and spoon, and cards showing the slice of bread, dish of applesauce, sliced carrots, sausage, and dish of ice cream.
I'm going to show you pictures of different foods. You tell me or show me whether you would use the knife, the fork, or the spoon. Ready? Ready. Okay. I want to cut this into 2 pieces. What is the best thing to use to cut this into 2 pieces? I want to eat this applesauce. It is thin and drippy. What is the best thing to use to get it into my mouth? I want to eat these pieces of carrot. What is the best thing to use to get them into my mouth? I want to cut this sausage into bite-sized pieces. What is the best thing to use to cut this into pieces? I want to eat this ice cream. What is the best thing to use to get into my mouth? I want to spread some butter on this slice of bread. What is the best thing to use to put butter on the bread? From our demonstration, the child would receive a score of 1 point because she chose 4 out of 6 situations correctly.
In this perceptual motor assessment, the child copies a triangle. The materials that are needed include the drawing of a triangle from page 12 in the student workbook and a pencil or crayon.
Seat the child at a table so that his or her elbows are level with the table and the child can reach and manipulate the materials easily. Place the student workbook open to page 12 in front of the child. Give the child a pencil or crayon. Point to the drawing of the triangle and say,
Draw a picture like this one here on the paper.
If the child does not produce a triangle the first try, allow up to 3 trials. Repeat the directions before each trial. Do not allow the child to trace the sample. Do not move your fingers or pencil to show the child how to draw the triangle. The child may erase before completing a drawing. However, once the drawing is complete, the child may no longer erase.
Once you determine the child's score from each assessment within the respective domain, a 0, 1, or 2 is transferred to the scoring booklet. Here is a sample of what the front page of the scoring booklet looks like.
Hope you guys enjoyed our video. Here are the references.